The self-development industry is a completely closed off, endless loop that will never allow you to truly reach the destination or the goal that you want to be able to reach. And that is because prescriptions create stimulus, stimulus creates consumption, consumption creates conditioning, and then conditioning goes back to consuming the next prescription. It's an endless loop, and if you're not aware of the loop, if you're not aware of what's happening in regard to the conditioning that's being forced essentially down your throat, you can do the same thing for 20 years straight and never truly change. So today's going to be interesting. I've got a few notes, but I want to be able to cover exactly why people don't change and the lie essentially the self-development industry has created. We have to be careful because today we'll be walking on a fine line of what I like to call, or at least a couple of my mentors like to call, the truth. So the truth there is, there's no good, no bad, no wrong, no right when we speak about the truth. It's just is what is in the world and in the universe. So I want to break down a few words that I'll be going over and then touching on the exact cycle that 99.9% of people stay in, thinking and feeling though if they make change or they subscribe to this prescription, it's going to allow them to change, when truly the only way to break out of this cycle that the world has created is by diving into the depths of the conditioning that you have been led to believe. So I've got a few notes here. I want to jump into understanding essentially what is confetti and what are prescriptions. Confetti is essentially everything that looks like change. Okay, and this is what the self-development industry is. So when I say, why am I just describing confetti? It is what the self-development industry is. It is essentially what Tony Robbins and these guys do at the highest level when they're on stage, when they're speaking, when they're training you, is consuming you with confetti. So what is confetti? Well, the easiest way to look at it is, imagine you're at a concert, a festival, a stage, a theater, or whatever it is, even at an event where someone like Tony is speaking. By the way, Tony's amazing. He's fantastic what he does. I'm just breaking down exactly what it is. They shoot confetti from the ceiling, confetti falls from the sky. As the confetti's falling, you're looking at all of this confetti, kind of grabbing it, thinking how beautiful it is. You're so stimulated by the confetti, you're amazed. As soon as the confetti gets past your eye line, or more importantly, as soon as the confetti hits the ground, it's forgotten about. You're on to the next thing. What else is there? Where are the fireworks? Where's more confetti? Keep it coming. It's gone. No one cares about confetti on the ground. And that's what the self-development industry is, consistently consuming you or dropping confetti onto you so that you're stimulated by what you think is change. Now, moving forward onto the next description is, what I want to elaborate on is prescriptions. Okay, so what is prescriptions? Well, prescriptions are the start of the entire wheel, the entire circle that we're going to go down. They're essentially instructions. Prescriptions are how-tos. Wake up at 5 a.m., have a cold shower, journal in the morning, meditate, breath work, whatever it is, right? They are essentially prescriptions. Now, sure, they help you improve in certain areas depending on the goal, but any how-to is a prescription that the industry sells. They do work in the sense that they deliver, but they don't deliver, or what they deliver isn't true change, because they're the start of the wheel. Majority of the time, they're the start of the wheel that leads to stimulation. Stimulation leads to more consumption, which creates even deeper level of conditioning. So let me show you what prescriptions actually deliver. Now, I know that was a lot, but I hope that made sense, because now it's time to actually get really serious, and now it's time to dive into something that, if you understand, again, there's not going to be an answer, there's not going to be a prescription at the end of this video of how to. Okay, sometimes we don't even truly understand how to do it, right? You can't describe where talent comes from. It's something that the universe creates and puts in every individual, and it's just about being able to find that talent through understanding what's being conditioned into your mind to restrict you from finding that talent. Not to go too deep. So the wheel, again, prescription delivers stimulation, stimulation creates consumption, consumption creates conditioning, conditioning then leads you to think that the next prescription is going to change everything. You install the prescription. Today I'm going to start my 5 a.m. routine. Okay, you wake up, you do the thing, and something happens. You feel different. Your body feels a little bit different. You feel like the version of you that wakes up at 5 a.m., that feeling is real. You feel as though it's time, I'm ready to change. You get addicted to the actual how-to, not the goal. Okay, you get addicted to the prescription of waking up at 5 a.m., to journaling, to meditating. Life has become, and everything's been gamified so much that journaling and meditating and breath work and all of these things have become a game that people focus on rather than the actual end result. And that's what a prescription is. Okay, you install the prescription delivers one thing. Okay, knowing the cycle, what do we think that one thing is? Well, it's a sense of doing something different, and that leads to a hit of stimulation, a hit of dopamine. So a prescription, again, at the basic level, makes me feel as though I'm doing something, and there's something positive, which then makes me stimulated by it, or gives me a hit, which then makes me stimulated by it. Now, what happens when we're stimulated, can't even speak right now, by something consistently? We consistently go back to doing that same thing. Think about it on the most easiest example. Instagram, doom scrolling, whatever you want to call it. There's so much stimulus on our phones. There's so much stimulus in the world. What do we do with that stimulus? We consistently consume it. Okay, so a prescription then gives you a stimulus or a hit of stimulus, which then we consistently continue to consume and consume and consume, thinking that it's benefiting us, thinking that it's changing us, but we're focusing on the how to, not the actual what we want to be able to achieve. You following with me still? Cool, let's continue going down this path. So what does consumption create? Well, consumption then creates conditioning. Now, conditioning is the biggest and the most important thing that I want you to be able to take away and understand from this, because conditioning, well, we've all been conditioned. The conditioning, or our conditioning, is installed very individually, very differently to each individual by childhood, family, a massive one, parents, the way they grew up, obviously childhood, friends, environment, government, for example. So they've all created conditioning. Conditioning runs essentially underneath our level of awareness. We don't even realize that we're being conditioned, but our level of awareness essentially has also been conditioned because it's so deeply rooted in us. These different lies and stories and everything we've been told, even truths, have created conditioning of how we think or how we should live. Okay, the easiest way to look at it, this is a great example, okay? The mind is a muscle. We've all heard of that. We all know that, okay? Now, if we treat it like a normal muscle, we condition that muscle to be looked and formed in a specific way, or formed and looked at in a specific way. Take bodybuilding, for example, in the gym, a bicep, a leg, your chest, that's a muscle, right? You then train that muscle to be, or condition that muscle to look and feel and be a certain way, right? Now, we look at the mind as exactly the same thing, but we're not the ones training the mind. We're not the ones conditioning the mind. It's external sources consistently. It's consumption from governments, from social media, from different people. So you're not actually in control of exactly how you want that muscle, the mind, to be able to look like, to be able to feel, to be able to what it can do. So when something's externally conditioning ourselves, well, it never comes from ourselves. It's never truly us, which means they're then going down a pathway where we're absolutely going in the wrong direction. We're following a bunch of lies that we feel as though are truths, but they're not, because they've been externally put into us and into our mind through conditioning, which is consumption, and consumption comes from prescriptions, or the stimulus from prescriptions, right? Now, I hope this is all making sense, because in my mind, this wheel is so clear. So now we've been conditioned, which only allows us to think a certain way. And because we've been conditioned, we then subscribe to the belief that we need another prescription to be able to level up and unlock another level. You need to buy this program to be able to achieve X goal. Well, it's not the truth. It's all bullshit. It's all lies. And that's what the whole industry, it's essentially what the whole world is built on. Now, it might be a deep line to be able to say that, but that is reality if you truly look at it. So how do we overcome this, right? Let's start to get a little bit tactical with this. How do we escape this cycle? Well, again, I'm not here to give you a prescription or tell you exactly how, but there's only truly one way that you can start to exit this cycle, and that is through examination. So what do I mean by examination? Well, examining the conditioning or the conditions that have been built in your mind, in your life, by looking at the prescriptions that you've prescribed to, or the things that you've been prescribed to or prescribed yourself to. There's only one way to escape the cycle. It's elevating our awareness through examination. Okay, now like I said, examination, I can't answer that, what examination looks like. There is no answer for me to say, oh, go through and go back through your mind and look at all these things and observe it all and all of those things. They're essentially prescriptions of me telling you how. You have to stop being so stimulated through the prescriptions. You have to stop consuming all of this external noise and reflect, internalize. Follow your intuition. Because the intuition is the true thing. That's truly you. Everything else, the mind, the way the mind thinks, is just being conditioned to think in a certain way. But you can't change your intuition. You can't change the feeling that comes up in your gut. So you have to examine that. You have to find out where it comes from. And by diving down that rabbit hole, you'll start to see the truth of who you really are, what you want to achieve, or who you want to become, or who you, etc. Okay, so examine the intuition, examine the feeling, examine the conditioning that has been built up, the layers that have been built up over essentially exactly who you are. And that's how you can escape this cycle. There is no other way, essentially. There is no prescription, no how-to, no 5-step process that you can follow to be able to get to the depths of the truth. That's really all I had in this video. Let me know, and I hope this cycle makes sense, okay? So there's no hooks, there's no cuts or edits in this video. I like to keep it very raw and real because I want you guys to understand that if you truly understand the wheel, if you truly understand the cycle that the world, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is putting you through, then you can start to escape from it. And well, the only freedom that humans are chasing, the only freedom that I'm personally chasing is freedom from the mind itself. If we're able to achieve freedom from the mind, then we have freedom in all areas of our life. And freedom from the mind comes through examination, not prescriptions, not stimulus, not consumption, by examination of the conditioning and breaking down that conditioning so you can truly become who you're meant to become.